Time to put your fists where your big mouth is and sign the core sports contract. I'm ready. Are you ready, Eddie?
What's happening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the party. Thor Bjornsson deadlifted 501 kilos, beating the previous record of 500 kilos held by Eddie Hall. Speculation aside, which I've already covered in a previous video, you can check that shit out, I'll leave it below. Deadlifting 501 kilos is insane. It went up quite fast, and Thor was totally fine after it. If you compare the aftermath of each performance, Thor definitely came out of the fire looking better. So here is both athletes completing their lift successfully. Damn, that's a lot of weight. Stand down, check Thor here, standing celebrating, totally unfazed, and then we have Eddie. Damn near death. Oof. He even posted photos of him training the next day, whilst Eddie burst his brain and had concussion symptoms after. There's rumours that he had a much more serious health incident, that it was actually a stroke, but it's a bit murky, to say the least. But then, Thor threw down that fat gauntlet. It wasn't enough for him to beat Eddie Hall's record, but he's looking to break his face in the ring. Thor versus Eddie in a boxing match. September 2021 at Las Vegas. Holy fucking shit. Will it be a shit show? Yes. Will it end in two big lumbering men gassing out to a decision? Most likely. Although both men possess more than enough power to turn the other's lights out. It's still a ridiculous spectacle to see. Both men make Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder look like malnourished babies. Babies! They're babies! Ugh! But let's attempt to break down the possibilities of the bout. Thor, 6'9", 205 kilos, world's strongest man winner, holds the best and biggest claim to be the strongest man on the planet at the minute. Eddie Hall, currently 170 kilos, former world's strongest man winner 2017, and first person to deadlift 500 kilos. Both men hold records, both men are incredibly inexperienced when it comes to the matter of boxing, and both are fucking huge. Now, when looking at this fight, initially I went with Thor. Two guys that have never boxed before, no boxing experience. You normally go with a genetic freak on this one. But when you factor in mindset and confidence, it's a big monkey wrench. Thor has been seen as a prima donna sometimes, partial to throwing the dummy out. Maybe life has got too easy for the Icelander. For whatever reason, I can't imagine Thor has been in many fights in his life. Not that street fights mean anything, but a bit of rough housing could make a difference. Eddie Hall has stated that he's been in a bunch of punch-ups in his life. He's also had an exhibition charity boxing match. That was 8 years ago. Now this experience relating to actual boxing experience equals to zero, although I will say that there is footage of Thor sparring a few years ago as well, and I would say out of the two that you see, Eddie definitely has the crisper technique and a bit more about him when it comes to the ring, a bit better movement. Both are still terrible, but they're pretty good considering that they're strong men entering into another sport. But for whatever reason, I think Eddie would handle the pressure better, and I think he would persevere through struggle. I'm not sure about Thor. I don't know how he's going to react to getting clocked. I don't know if he will react as well as Eddie would. I can imagine Eddie coming through a war. I don't know if I can imagine Thor doing it. Although Thor is 6'9" and weighs over 200 kilos, so one punch could literally be all that he needs. My own view is that it will become a shit show. I think it's going to be entertaining to see, and it's going to be great to watch, but I think at the end of the day, if the fight doesn't end within the first 1 or 2 rounds, it's going to be a long, boring fight, even if it only goes 6-2s or 6-3s. A lot of people are talking online, and a lot of people are saying that the conditioning won't be that big a problem because it's a year training they'll have. They're some of the best athletes in the world. Nah, conditioning will be an issue. There's much smaller guys who are big guys who are trained for fights gas out quicker than these guys. Fighting's a totally different sport. It can all come down to a mental game, and somebody can get really tired and hurt very quickly. So all this shenanigans about talking about how conditioning might not be a problem, it's a load of nonsense. It will be a problem. They're big guys. You see big guys that are in the best shape of their life that are smaller than these guys, gas out. The only one that I can say I haven't really seen gas out in the big guys is Cain Velasquez and MMA, but MMA is a different sport. I think it's going to be a shit show. I think it's going to get to the point, if it doesn't end within the first 2 rounds, you're going to see 2 big tired guys go the full distance, unless somebody can put somebody's lights out. Now, another thing that people are factoring into that shows their ineptitude when it comes to fighting or boxing is they're talking about Thor using his reach and establishing a jab. Fighting tall is not natural. It takes a while to get good at fighting tall. There's some fighters in the world who are supremely tall but still don't know how to fight long. It takes a while to get used to that range and distance, to keep somebody off and pressuring you. If somebody weighs 170 kilos, even if you're 200, it's going to be hard to keep them behind something. I also heard a lot of talk that if Thor gets a jab off as well, it's going to be the end for Eddie. I don't see that happening either, because it takes a long fucking time to establish a jab. You can't just go, like, when you're 30 or in your mid-30s, start training and boxing for a year and expect to have a crisp jab in a year's time. I know some boxers that took fucking ages to get a crisp jab. I know boxers now that haven't got a great jab, but have worked on it for years. So to say that he's going to have some fucking piston jab that's going to stop Eddie from coming in and it's going to be pinpoint accurate, it's kind of a fallacy. I don't really see that happening at all. The one good thing that I will say about this is I think it's a spectacle and I think it's going to be great, but it brings more eyes to the sport. And initially, if it brings more eyes to strength sports, it'll bring more eyes to powerlifting as well. I've said for ages that the sport and these sports need figures like Eddie and Thor. They need people that are larger than life. They need the people that are going to get people in seats. People are going to pay to see this shit. I'm going to pay to see it whenever I can. If I can go out to Vegas for it, absolutely perfect. But I think it's great in that regard, and it's going to bring a lot of eyes to the sport. And I think Eddie and Thor know that. I think they want to bring it up to a new level, and they're bringing their own rivalry into it, and they're going to make a shit ton of money for this as well. Like the YouTube fights with KSI, Logan Paul, Jake Paul, like they all done amazing number wise. And the fact in the second KSI Logan Paul fight, the fact that Eddie Hearn got involved with it, you know that it's got the potential to make a lot of money if he's involved with it. So the potential for this boxing match to do great numbers is astronomical. It really is. That's me done and dusted. That's my thoughts on the matter. If you like the video, give it a like. Make sure you subscribe if you like any of the content. And if you're interested in any powerlifting coaching, strength coaching, check out Greymania Fitness on Instagram and Facebook. And check out the Greatcast, my podcast, as well. I'll leave the links in the description below. Thank you.